Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now, what is your puzzle diet every day? Is it looking at a Cracking the Cryptic video? That would be good. Or maybe you have a look at some of the puzzles that get published each day. There are various places like the Times Crossword Club. I'm very addicted to that. Like the New York Times has a series of puzzles. They recently included pips amongst them. And every day, I don't play that one, but every day I do have a go at spelling bee and strands and, of course, Wordle and connections. Wordle appears on the channel, my attempts at that, and connections, you can go to Patreon and see every few days me update my attempts at connections and trying to keep my streak alive and that sort of thing. And we have lots of great content on Patreon, of course, including the September monthly reward, which is Back to the Future by Blob's fantastic set of puzzles. And of course, there's all that other content, as I mentioned. We do certain crosswords and things. But anyway, that is one place where people get their puzzle diet from. Another place these days is LinkedIn, where there are a number of small pencil puzzles to do. And these include Zip and Queens and Tango. And our correspondent, Bartok the Magnificent, what a great name. I'm not sure if someone has conferred that title on Bartok or whether he has given it himself, in which case I issue the immortal warning that self-praise is no praise. But anyway, Bartok has written to us to say that he's a long-time viewer of the channel who's finally decided to try setting some puzzles himself. And there are 3 puzzles, Zip, Queens and Tango, that are the result. And we might like to try them on the channel. So, as part of our puzzle diet, let's have a go at these. I'll probably have a go at all 3 in the same video. Of course, that rather depends on how difficult they are. If this first one proves to be harder than the normal 9x9, which is entirely possible, then maybe this will be a 3-video series, but don't know till we try it. Of course, there are other things to mention, like our apps, which are fantastic and which do feature 6x6 puzzles these days in the worms, where they can be connected in a larger worm. And do check out James Sinclair's worm, Marty Sears's, and all of our other apps, including Fog of War and Line Sudoku. They are great fun, and you can find them in the links under the video, along with Fenn's Sudoku Pad and where to go to Patreon and the Discord server and the catalogue of all our puzzles, etc. Also in the description field, the rules for this puzzle and the place where you can play it in our software in Sudoku Pad. So let's do the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Now that's normal 6x6 Sudoku rules. So we'll be placing 1 to 6 in every row, every column, and every 3x2 marked region. The solver must draw a parity line. So we're going to definitely have to turn on the pen tool for the puzzle, because you must draw the line. Digits alternate between even and odd, and the parity line visits every cell in the puzzle, including the 6 bubble digits in order. The line starts at the 1 bubble and ends at the 6 bubble. The parity line moves orthogonally. It visits each cell, so it goes horizontally or vertically. It visits each cell exactly once, and it doesn't cross itself. And it can't pass through thick black lines. The solver, I guess of course, must determine which of the bubbles contain 2, 3, 4 and 5. They have to be visited in order, don't they? That's what it said. And I mean, I think that's probably what the Zip puzzle does in LinkedIn. I have to confess, I do not play these LinkedIn puzzles, so I won't get any advantage from knowledge of those. There's one more rule. Bubble digits must be followed by or preceded by a digit with the same residual modulo. Sorry, with the same, from the same mod 3 set, as I've recharacterized the rules so they're a little clearer. And that means that 1 is in the same set as 4, 2 is in the same set as 5, and 3 is in the same set as 6. These are basically digits that give the same result once of a remainder once you've divided by 3. Okay, well, I mean, I understand these rules. Looks to me like we get a certain amount of help here, so we'll see how it goes and whether we can move on to Queens and Tango afterwards. Now, let's restart the clock and say the immortal words. Let's get cracking. So the line starts at the 1. I mean, okay, when I was saying there seems to be some help, we've got the digits. We've got all the circles marked. We just need to identify what they are and in order. Okay, the line visits every cell in the puzzle. And therefore it visits every corner in the puzzle, and it must arrive at that corner and leave it. So we'll make it a red line because it's a parity line. It must do that. I figure it must do that and it must do that. Now, it's not the same for the corner with the 1 in it because it leaves that cell and doesn't return to it. Now, what about the 6? Or is there a shape around here that is essential? I mean, it could go this way. I think there are actually a lot of options. Okay, there's this extra rule, isn't there? Bubble digits must be followed by or preceded by a digit with the same residual modulo. So 1 obviously can't be preceded on the line, so it must be followed by a 4 in one of those cells. 6. Well, this isn't, yeah, okay. I was going to say this isn't a 5 in this circle, and that's the wrong conclusion. It might be a 5, but it's not. 6 does not get arrived at by a line from that cell, because then this would be 5. It would be the last digit visited on the, well, it would be the last cell visited on the path before 6, and therefore it would have to be the next highest bubble. And the problem with that is that then 6 wouldn't be preceded by a 3, it would be preceded by a 5. So there is not a line between those two. So I could actually draw a black line between those two. I don't know if you can see that as a barrier. But the 6 either joins to that cell or to this cell. And now we've put that barrier in. This cell is a new corner in the puzzle, and we can draw a line. I didn't want to do it in black, I wanted to do it in red. Part of the line goes like that. And now I know from sort of line movement, look at this cell. Now, where does that has 2 connections because it's not an end of the line. One of them is there or there, but the other one, it can't connect to both of those, or the line would join up and not be one continuous line through the whole grid. So that must be one of the lines leaving this cell. Now, I'm not getting very far in, this could still be 5 because you could come round here and finish there. Does this configuration tell me something else? Yes, this cell can't join, let me just show you what I mean with a yellow line. It can't join those 2 cells up, because then when we moved on from this cell, we'd have to close up the loop. So that is not how this cell joins, and therefore it must come down here. If it's not leaving that cell to the north and the west, it's either north or west, and then definitely south. Now, does that continue? Can I draw a line between these 2? I'm not as good at these line drawing puzzles as a lot of people who do the World Puzzle Championship, and indeed Simon, but there are logical conclusions you can reach. I think I'm missing the point here. What point am I missing? Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I've been so slow. Not at catching that fly, funnily enough, but I have generally been very slow. What I hadn't understood... Oh, by the way, I can put a 5... No, it's not. It's a 3 in one of those two cells. That 6 has to be preceded by a 3 because it's not going to get followed by anything. Anyway, sorry. What I was going to say is there is a feature of this line. This line moves orthogonally through the puzzle. And therefore, look, do a bishop's move colouring and you will understand what I'm now seeing as absolutely painfully obvious, and yet what I didn't see until a moment ago as occurring at all, which just goes to show you what a numpty I can be. I mean, it fits in. Yeah, okay. So I've checkerboarded this grid just to show you something I'm thinking about. And that is that as the line moves, it moves between odd and even digits. And every horizontal move from this one must be to that cell or that cell and must make it even. And every move that you make from this cell, if you imagine the line went there, would be to one of these 3 cells, which would have to be odd. And the point is that as you make a line going through this puzzle anywhere, if it did that, you would be able to tell the parity of every digit as you went. And that would reveal that the yellow cells in this puzzle are all odd and the blue cells are all even. That must be the case. And I am now going to number them accordingly. So blue are 2, 4 or 6, yellow are 1, 3 or 5. And now we are going to have some actual action. So first of all, that 6 sees some cells which can't be a 6, including that one. This 1 sees some cells that can't be a 1 now. Now, there's more than that, because this 6 has to have a 3 in one of those 2 cells. So this cell in the same box can't be a 3. We know it can't be a 1, so that must be a 5. And then these digits that 5 sees can't be 5s. This one becomes a definite 3. That sees a number of digits that can't be 3 anymore. Now, is this going to continue or is it going to stop? There's a 4 in one of those cells, so this is a 2 because we ruled out 6 from that one. So that sees a lot of cells that can't be 2 now. Now this digit is a 4. That sees a number of cells that can't be 4. Let's take out the corner marks, although, well, maybe I'm being premature taking them out. But now, we can't have a 1 in a circle because we've already had 1 in a bubble. And we know that the bubbles are the numbers 1 to 6. And we can't have 6 in a bubble. So there we go. This digit becomes a 2. And this one must be a 4. And now we can fill in a lot of the digits in the puzzle. We might be able to finish the digits. And then just come back and, yeah, this sees 4 and 2. And then come back and work out the path. That would be an unusual way to do it, but I think it's not impossible. What about 5? This is a 3-5 pair because they have to be the numbers in the bubbles. So this is a 1, and this can't be 1 now. Oh no, we're going to have to work out the path to decide what the 3, 5 in order are. I doubt that we can do much more from here. I mean, I might have missed some Sudoku move, but I'm going to actually remove all the colouring because what is the point after all? That was just to make the point about odd, even, odd, even. Now let's try and join up. So now we do the thing that I presume is what Zip does in LinkedIn, which is to find a path through these digits. Now, how do we do this? Okay, we've got to go through 2 next after the 1. Then we've got to go through one of these before we get to 4. Right, how could we go through, if this was 3 up here, on this path, I don't know which way round it would go, but you'd have to get from 1 to 2 to 3 on this path, and then to this 4, and then to this 5. Something would have to cross itself. For 1 to get to this 2 in any way is setting up a barrier. Right? Whether you do it like that or like that, you're creating a barrier that 4 can't get through here. Oh, this is quite hard to explain, but basically there's a barrier set up between 1 and 2. I don't think this can be 3, because that would create another barrier that 4 would have to cross through either to get to 5, or if you went round this way, that 5 would have to cross to get to 6. So this can't be 3. This has to be 5. I haven't worked out how the line works yet, but that has to be 5. And then that's 3, and now I bet we can finish off. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we can't finish off the digits. That's weird, because then I don't understand. Oh, we've got this rule about bubble digits must be preceded or followed by. Oh, well, maybe that was even clearer in deciding. Yes, it was. This can't be a 3 because it's not followed or preceded by 6. Sorry, forgot the important rule there. So now we have to make sure that each digit is followed or preceded by its residual modulo partner. And that means 4 must touch the 1. So we can draw a bit of line between them. That means 2 must touch a 5. Well, it's got 2 options for that. 1 must touch a 4. 3 must touch a 6. 6 must touch a 3, but we don't know where that's going. Okay, so we've got some new lines in the puzzle, and I might be able to make some deductions about these now. Maybe based on the order. So 1 is going to reach 2 next. Then 3. Right, so if 3 joined up there, how does 2 ever get to 3 before and then leave the opportunity for 4 to come next? I don't think we can draw a red line between those cells. We certainly can't draw one between those because 3 would join to 5 on the line without having accessed 4. So we could put a black line in between those. I think we can put a black line between these 2 as well, because otherwise 4 can't get to 5. Am I right? Yeah, if you joined up to there. Yes, if you did draw a red line here, I'll put a yellow one in just to show you. If you put a line in there, then when you leave this, you would connect to either to that cell or that cell. And again, the 3 would connect to the 5 without anything in between. So that can't be a line. So we can put a black line between those cells. And now the red line basically carries on to here. Or from there. I think it is from there. Because then from 4, when we've gone to 3, we then have to go to 4, and then we have to get to 5. So we can't come through this way, or we'd be interfering between 1 and 2. So we're going to have to come round this side to get to the 5, and then from the 5 across there to the 6. So there's a line in between those cells. They don't join up here, so I'm putting a black line between those 2, and that means I can continue the red line there. And this is where 1 is going to join to 2 and then to 3. So 2 has to come round this corner. Now, I don't know yet if it goes north there and comes back down. So I can't do that, but I've got a corner here at this 4, which takes me to here. This 4 can't go left or it'll never get out, so it goes right. Now I've got a corner down here. This 6 is a corner, So we've joined up there. Now this has to reach the 2, not the 4 or the 3, so they join up. I'd better not forget that rule. From this 6 I can go north because I can't go both west and east. The 3 is going to join up to the 4, but I don't know whether it does it through the 6 and the 1 or not. The 4 is then going to come round the corner and join up to the 5. Again, that could go through here up to there. I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to figure that one out in the end. But anyway, 4 will come round here and we'll reach that 4 at some point, whether it goes that way or not. Because that 4 has to be picked up. Oh, look, it's much simpler. We've got a corner there and then we've got a corner here. Corners have to be involved. So this is the way we're going. Oh, right. And then we cannot go from this cell to this cell. Oh, yeah, we could. We could go across there and like that. Can we go up there? I don't see why not. I'm not quite sure how to finish this off. Sorry, I'm being a bit dense here. The 1 has gone to a 4. Oh, the 2 has to go to a 5. That digit is a 5. That was it. Right, there we go. 1, 5, 1, 3. And that's going to tell us how the 6 joins up. Goodness me, it's all absolutely straightforward once you see the absolutely straightforward moves. Oh, sorry, I haven't really finished. Sorry, that came up because I have that setting on, that when I've got all the numbers in it will come up. But I haven't finished. I got to join the 6 to a 3. So now I know that this must connect up to there. This must connect up to there. Now, the 3 already joins to a 6 and the 4 to a 1. So I don't have anything more to do there. I think this is kind of optional, how this goes. Unless I have misunderstood the rules somewhere. I think it would be perfectly valid to join the line either like that. The line seems to me to work and to obey all the rules. Or alternatively, we could put 2 horizontals in there and a vertical there. And it doesn't really matter in a way, because what we did learn through having to use all the factors in the puzzle, all the factors of the rules, and trace almost all the whole path, was where all the digits went, which is why we get the kind of the message at the end. This is the first of 3 puzzles in a series based on LinkedIn games. Please check out my other puzzles for Queens and Tango. Well, I'm going to move on to the Queens puzzle. Here we go. So, normal jigsaw rules apply, and it explains what those are, thank goodness. Place the digits 1 to 6 in each row, column, and marked region. In each row, column, and region, there is a queen cell. Queen cells may not be touching even diagonally, so they're a bit like Star Battle. All queen cells must not be orthogonally adjacent to any digits that form a 2 to 1 ratio with or are consecutive to the queen cell's digit. So the queen cell has no possible black or white dots touching it. Meaning if this 3 was a queen cell, none of these digits could be 2 or 4 because there'd be a theoretical white dot between them, or 6 because there'd be a theoretical black dot between that cell and the 3. If the 3 was a queen cell, I don't know if it is. Digits separated by a black dot do form a 1 to 2 ratio. Okay, let's get cracking on this. And I've thought of something at least, which is that any cell that is on a black dot is not a queen cell, because obviously it can form a black dot relationship with something. So let's just, I don't know, what am I going to do? I'm going to enable the letter tool and X out these cells. They are not possible queen cells. So the queen cell in column 6 is one of these two. Let's put an O in there. One of those two is the queen cell. Now this can't be a queen cell because it would be touching that one either horizontally or diagonally. The queen cell in the green box is in one of those two, and so these two are both X's. Then the queen cell in row 2 is in one of those, so I can X all of these cells. Now, the queen cell in row 3 is one of those two. I can't put a corner mark in this 3 cell, but it is a candidate for the queen cell. The queen cell in blue is in one of those two, so these are both X's. The queen cell in this region is in one of those 3. Oh, that is a pair and that is a pair of possible queen cell locations. So it's a sort of X-wing. The one for row 1 and the one for row 3 are going to use up the 2 queen positions in columns 4 and 5. So I can X these 2 cells. And now in row 5 and 6, there must be one in one of these 2 places. And that is now X because it can't be the queen cell in this column because that's in one of those 2. And then I can put O in one of these. Okay, so I don't think there's an arrangement. As long as I remember that this 3 can be a queen cell. If it is a queen cell, that's a queen cell. Then the red one is here, the purple one is here, the lime one is there, the light blue one is there. And that is a possible arrangement. Alternatively, in these 2, it's there. Then we've got one here. The orange one is here. The blue one is here. Lime is there and purple is there. And that is a different arrangement, but equally valid. So we're going to have to do some number work to figure this out, which is hardly surprising, but we've just demonstrated that. Okay, so as we come down here, there is no 5 on these black dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 can all be on a black dot, but 5, must be in one of these cells, which also include a queen. There was no rule about all the queen cells have a different digit. And I think, frankly, a lot of them might be a 5, possibly. Right, these black dots will include a 3-6 pair because one of them can use a 2. The possible black dot pairs in a 1 to 6 Sudoku are 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6. Now you can only have one of 1, 2, and 2, 4 in this column, because otherwise you'd be using 2 twice. So the other one is a 3, 6. So one of these is 3, 6, and the other one uses 2. So these digits are selected from 1, 4, and 5. Now, this pair cannot, this digit cannot be 2, 4, or 6, because there would be an infringing relationship between those 2. Whichever one was the queen would have a potential white dot or black dot with a cell next to it. So that is 1 or 5. This given 3 is probably very important indeed. This pair doesn't have a 3 on it, so it does have a 2 on it. We're selecting from 1, 2, 4, and we're definitely using a 2. Don't know about these cells. Could they actually be 6, 3, 6? I think they could. This could be a 3, 6 pair as long as... Oh, this digit can't be a 2 because 2's in one of those cells. So it's either 1, 4, or 6. And this digit, therefore, is 2 or 3. And I don't know the answer, although if it was 2, it would be looking... Oh, if that was a 3, 6 pair, then this couldn't be a 3, 6 domino This would be the 3-6 domino in that case. I don't know the answer. Right. 5 in orange is in one of those two cells. 5 in green is in one of those two cells because it can't be anywhere here. Now, 5 in blue can't be in those cells because there's a 5 in that row and a 5 in that row. So 5 in blue is in one of these 3. Oh, I can't quite see. We do need a 5 in this box. Oh, we need a 3 in this box. Well, it's either there or this is a 3-6 pair. 3 is either in that cell or that cell. It can't be here because that would make this 6 and this 3, which would be a clash and a crash. So one of those two is a 3 in red. Now my pencil marking is beginning to get very confusing. And there's a 3 in one of those cells. So the 3 in purple is in one of these 3. Ah, good. I don't know what to do. And I still don't know which one of these is the queen. Or which one of these is the queen. Oh, I'll tell you what, this cannot be a 4-5 pair because one of them is the queen and that would have a white dot. And we know 5 is in those cells, so that is a 5-1 pair, definitely. Right. Now we know this is a 5-1 pair by the law of leftovers. Let's do that marking. This digit can't be a 1. This is a 1-5 pair as well. Or I could start colouring these 1-5s against each other. Well, or lettering them or something. I'm going to do that. Let's call this one A, that one's B. This one's A. It's in the same region as this one, which is B. This one is A. I've got that wrong here, haven't I, rather brilliantly. That was A, so this was B. This was A, and this was B, sorry. Now, I've got B's in those positions. We need an orange B that is this 1 or 5. And it's got to be in one of those two cells. We need a blue B that has to be here now. That's information learned. This is B. Okay, so now B is in these places. Now we need a lime B. If this is lime, I don't know, maybe it's yellow. Maybe calling that yellow would be more sensible. Let's put B in one of those. Oh no, let's not put B in one of 2, but B is in one of those 2. And one of those 2, no, one of those 2. B is either 1 or 5. Right, that's interesting, because if it was in this cell, it would be a 1. And it would be in this cell as well, and would be a 1 again. And that would put 2 in both of these cells. Is there a problem with that? No. Not obviously. Oh, this is very confusing. Right, something is going on. Obviously something is going on. How about A's? We got an A there and an A there. I didn't get any other A's. But now there must be an A in yellow somewhere in these cells. And there's an A in column 3. No, there's an A in blue and an A in orange to go. I don't know. Maybe the colouring wasn't the thing to do. Maybe I should just be spotting something simpler. This black dot can't be a 1-2 pair because we've had one in the column. We've had a 1-5 pair. So this is either 2-4 or 3-6. Now, if this was a I was going to talk about if this was a 2-4 black dot, but that being a 2-4 black dot doesn't necessarily make this one a 2-4. It could be a 1-2. This digit is 2, 3, or 4. It can't be 6. It is 2, 3, or 4. Now, one of these two is a queen. Oh look, if that was a queen, this has to be a 1. It can't be 2 or 4. And that would be a 5. And this would be a 1 and would be another queen. If this was a queen, this would be a 1 and would be another queen. Couldn't be touching a 2. That's probably all right. Oh, this is confusing. If that's a queen, this one can't be, so that would be the queen in the row. That would be a queen. That would be a queen. That would be the orange queen. And that would be a queen. That must be one of the dispositions of queens that I worked out at the start when there were 2 available in the puzzle. I'm not figuring out what that means for myself. Oh, there's something going on somewhere. There's something absolutely obvious in one of these queen pairs of cells. I don't know what it is though. 6 in this row could be there, or it could be in one of those two. Or if this was a 2-4 pair, that would be 6 and this would be 3. And if this was a 2-4 pair, that couldn't be a queen because it would be a 3 touching a 2 or a 4 here. So if that's a 2-4 pair, this is the queen. And it's now touching 2 or 4 there and 3 there. And therefore it can't be 3 or 6 or 2 or 4 itself. It's got to be 1 or 5, touching 2 or 4. So if this is a 2-4 pair, this is a queen, and it's 1 or 5. If it's 1, that has to be 3, and that has to be 4. But if it's 5, they've got a lot more freedom. I can't quite work anything out. Sorry, I haven't got this at all. Oh, hang on. If this is a... Oh, this is impossible. Look at this column. This 3, if that was a queen, where are you going to put 2, 4, and 6 in the column? They can't touch the queen. Well, sorry, they can't touch the 3 if it's a queen. So you couldn't put either of them there, and you'd have to cram 2, 4, and 6 into those 3 cells. So that is not the queen. This is the queen. Right. Sorry, I meant to be... Oh yes, I'm going to put the pen tool on. I'm going to label the queens with circles. So that is the... Oh, that's a very poor colour choice. Let's do a big black circle. Why not? That's the queen. That's the queen in green. The one in red has been done, so that's the one in column 6. That's the one in row... Sorry, yes, that's right. That's the one in row 5. The one in row 4 has to be here. Right, I have now marked the queens. Let's get rid of all the X's and O's. that I had marked everywhere. There we go. We've just got left with the A's and B's, which might be helpful yet, actually. Now, we've found the queens. Now we can do the funky stuff, surely, with the queens and work out what's in them and what isn't in them. Or can we? That'd be very annoying if I still can't. This one is a queen. It's not able to be 3 or 2. It can't be 1 or 4, or can it? Yes, it could if that was also 1 or 4. I feel like it's going to be the 5, but I'm not sure. This one... Oh, I'm still stuck. This is very annoying. That's B. So let's look at B's. B, 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 B. We've got 2 more B's to go. And one is there and one is here. So the B's are either the 2 queens or the 2 black dot digits. And if they're the black dot digits, they're going to always be 1s. Because B is either 1 or 5. Right, so if this is B, it's a 1, because that's the only overlap value with the other B's. If it's not B, that's B and that's B. Are they 5s definitely then or not? If this is B, it's a 1. And if that's B, it's 1 or 5 in a queen cell. So this can never be 2. Because if this is B, it's a 1. And if this is B, oh no, it might be a 5. Ah, goodness, I can't even understand this. Okay, I was about to reach a false conclusion. I'll row clear of that. I really thought we were on the verge of finishing this off, and I'm not now. Right, these queen cells can't have theoretical white or black dots anywhere. Now, we've used 2 up here. If that was 1, 2, what digit is this? It's not a 2. It could be B. If it was B, it would be a 1. Actually, yes, B is quite a likely, 1 is quite a likely queen digit because it's just 2 that it's got to avoid everywhere. Wow, I'm literally falling apart on this puzzle. I cannot see what to do. That B is 1 or 5, so I can write 1 or 5 into that cell, and it's a queen cell. It's probably going to be simplest to prove that they're not 1s. These would be 2s in that situation. If B was here and here, which are 2 possible remaining places, they'd both have to be 1 because they're on black dots, they couldn't be 5. So they'd both be 1. So we'd have 2s in those positions. Now we'd have a 3 at the top of the grid. Yeah, that's quite interesting. We'd have 1, 2, 3 going on. These digits would be 4, 5, 6. But the queen would be required not to be touching a counterpart. And that means this would be 5. And these would be a 4, 6 pair that would be then legal. But this would be 3 at the top of the grid, so it would have to be a 4 here, which feels a very unlikely queen digit. Okay, let's work this through because I'm onto something here. If these were where B went, B would have to be 1. we'd have 2's in those positions. This would end up being a 4 with 6 there and 5 there. And B would be a 1. We knew that. We knew that. If this was B, it was going to be a 1. We knew that. Hang on. We'd have a 4 here in the circle. So, oh, that can't work. That cannot be a 4 in the circle because that would have a white or black dot with the 2 or 3 above it. Right, let me explain this again. If these two were the positions of B, and they're not, they would be 1's. This would be a 2. We'd have 1, 2 there, 3 here. This digit wouldn't be allowed to be 4 or 6 because it's a queen next to a 3. So it would have to be 5, but there it would have a 4 or a 6 and would have a white dot, and that's broken. So these are the B's. All the B's are queens. Queen B has been here. And those are 1 or 5, therefore, because, and in fact, in every position in this puzzle, wherever it's a queen, it's the same digit. I don't know yet whether it's 1 or 5, but it's the same digit. And now we're going to work out whether it's 1 or 5 somehow. And I don't know how yet. If that's a 1, this has to be a 3. Then we get 6 there, a 2, 4 pair. We've still got 3 to place in this column. This is the queen. Okay, I think the problem is going to be if the queens were 5s, because presumably they're going to bump into a 4 or a 6 somewhere. Yes, it's absolutely totally obvious up here. This is a queen and it's sitting next to a 4 or 6. It cannot be a 5. It is a 1. And now that we've proved that all the B's are the queens, they're all 1s. And they mustn't be sitting next to 2s. And that's all they mustn't be sitting next to, but it's going to help. There, straight away, a 3. That's a 6. This can't be a 2, so this one is a 2. 2s everywhere are going to have to avoid touching 1s. That's become a 4 by Sudoku. 3 and 5 still to go in the column. That's a 5 in the box. We've got 2, 4 and 6 to go here, but 2 can never be next to the 1s. That's the rule, and that can't be a 2. So this can't be a 4 anymore by black dot rules. This can't be a 2 because of the queen thing, so that is 3 or 6. Oh, the 2 in blue mustn't be there, so it's up here in the corner, hidden away. That gives us the 2 in row 2. That gives us the 2 in red. Actually, we could have got that earlier. And can I finish off the 2s by just not touching 1s? No, I can't, actually. I've got an X-wing left of 2. Oh, no, yes, I can. The 2 in row 4 must be there, again, by not touching 1s. Right, so that's a 4 on the black dot. We're going to finish this off. I've been desperately poor at this puzzle. But there we go, it happens. That's a 4, 5 pair, that's a 6, that's 3. We've got 4 in the corner, that's a 6. 3 or 5 there. In this row, I've got 3 and 4 to do. They're easy on the black dot or by Sudoku or any way you like. 5, 3, 5, and I finish finally with a 6 here. And that was complicated. There we go, but that is the second puzzle. Brilliant stuff. We'll go on to Tango, the third. And I'm a bit scared now. Bartok's beating me up with his magnificent puzzles. Right, Tango. Shade some cells yellow such that each row and column within the grid contains 3 shaded, it didn't say box, contains 3 shaded and 3 unshaded cells. And the unshaded cells we can make blue. There cannot be 3 consecutive cells that are all shaded or unshaded in a row or column. That's the sort of binero rule that we've seen before. That's actually, I think Tango is related. Right, cells separated by a black dot, we'll ignore the X, contain digits that form a 2-to-1 ratio and include one shaded and one unshaded. Cells separated by a white dot include consecutive digits that are either both shaded or both unshaded. So, okay, well, I mean, I understand that. Digits in a cage sum to the value in the top left corner of the cage, but shaded cells, that's yellow, count as negative values towards the sum. Okay, let's get cracking on this. 10 has got to be two positive values. Remember, we're only getting values up to 6, so they're both blue. That has to be yellow to avoid a threesome of blue. These two in a -6 cage, they're both yellow, negative. If you put even the biggest yellow in, -6, you couldn't put a positive with it and get that total. So we've got all 3 yellows for this column. Those are all blue. Now we're not doing a box count, so I can't just add those up. These must include I was immediately going to say the third yellow in the box. There is no third yellow in the box. We're not doing a box count. But on a black cell, we have blue one side and yellow the other. Now, of these 3 cells, we've got 2 yellow and 1 blue. If we made both of these yellow, they would have negative values up to -3, and you couldn't get there. So they're not both yellow, so one of the yellows in the row is there. This is 1 yellow and 1 blue. And that could give any value up to 5, so this is positive and is blue. And now we've got 2 blues in a row, and we can bookend them with yellows. This pair is the same as each other, and they can't be blue, or that would be a 3, so that's double yellow. This can't be blue, because that would be 3 yellows in a row. These 2 are the same, and they can't be yellow for the same sort of reason. We'd have 3 in the column. Now we've got all 3 blues in the column. Those are yellow. This is one of each, so that includes the third yellow in this column, and these 2 go blue. This is yellow by virtue of the cage and the row. Now we've got 3 yellows in column 3, and those are blue. Still don't know how to determine these. We need 1 of each here for the row. Oh, this one, we just count them up. That's yellow in the row. And 2 yellows here. Now, it's fine to have a 2x2 area of yellow in this puzzle. But one of these 2 is yellow because of the X. So that's blue in the column. That's the third blue in the row, so that's yellow. That's all the yellows in column 5. So they're blue. This cage, that's positive, so this has to be negative, and we're going to know the numbers. That's yellow, that's blue because of the X. Now we've got 3 yellows, 3 blues in the top row. We need 3 yellows. There we go, we've coloured the grid. Now this cage is where to start with the numbers, because we've got a +1 and a -6. This has got a 1-to-2 ratio, so that's a 3. And that's 3 in the corner. Well, that's 3 in the spotlight. Right, to make this -6, it's a 2-4 pair, and that's a 5. This is a 6-4 pair, always has been, and now we know the order. We need a 2 in one of those digits. Okay, what about this box? The value of the positives is 1 more than the value of the negatives. Well, the maximum they can be is a 6-5 pair equals 11. And then these would be 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 10. That's exactly what's happening. So that's straightforward. This is on an X, so it can't be 5. So that's 6 next to a 3. That fixes 4 and 3. This is a 1-3 pair in the column. This is a 2-5 pair, and we know the order. These have to be consecutive, and we've had 2 and 5 go in the row, so that's a 3-4 pair. That's 1, that's 6, this is 3. These are from 1 to 5. I'm going to have to do some work. Oh, maybe I can work. Oh, 9 is a huge difference, right. These positives, let's say they were 6, 5, 4, the maximum, that's 15. These would be 1, 2, 3, the minimum. That's clearly what's happening. So I'm putting a 3 there and a 1, 2 there. 6 there and 5, 4 here. Now we can do the x in a very straightforward fashion, because 4 and 2 was the only possible 1 to 2 ratio relationship. Now that's 1 or 2. Now what? Maybe I don't need to calculate that. Let's look at this pair. This has to be a 4, 5 pair because they're consecutive, so we can't use 2. That is now 1 and that's 5, and this is 2, and I hope this adds up correctly. 7 minus 1, it does. And that was a much more straightforward puzzle for me than the others. It'll be very interesting to hear how you found that. Thank you for solving. Well, brilliant stuff by Bartok. A magnificent set of puzzles. Much more taxing. Somehow I thought I was doing badly on Zip, but I think I got absolutely mugged by Queens. And then I did fine on Tango. 5 minutes 11. I feel much better by finishing with that one. Maybe Bartok ordered it that way deliberately. Anyway, thank you for watching and for playing along. We'll see you again tomorrow, I hope, on the channel. Bye for now.